So I did a little bit of research in preparation for this because it dawned on me that on its face, it looks like God was just mad and threw a temper tantrum. And that's what a lot of people will claim. But it couldn't be further from the truth. I went and I looked in my concordance. The word anger and wrath, those two words, in the entire Bible, they show up 480 times. Okay? 175 times they show up in the Old Testament. 135 times they show up in the New Testament. When you break it down on a per book basis between the Old Testament and the New Testament, in the Old Testament, 4.4 times per book in the Old Testament do those words anger and wrath show up. 4.6 times in the New Testament they show up on average per book. And I will even make the argument that they show up less in the defense of God in the Old Testament because you have to take into account Moses, you have to take into account Abraham, and you have to take into account a lot of the other fathers of the Old Testament, the kings, the prophets, when they express their anger. That probably drops it quite a bit because when you get to the New Testament, the only person that's angry is Jesus. And he makes it pretty well known when he's talking with the Pharisees. I decided to take it a little bit further. I looked up the word love and compassion 482 times in the Bible. Forgiveness, 117 times in the Bible. Redeemed or redemption, 130 times. Salvation, 164 times. Sacrifice, 221 times. Gave, give, and given, 1,983 times. Last week I talked a little bit about how you can tell what's really important in the Bible by how much of the Bible is dedicated to it. When you take those words of love, forgiveness, redemption, sacrifice, all acts of love, 6.5 times more than the words anger or wrath. Words of a loving nature are far more prevalent in the Bible, and especially in the Old Testament, than the words anger and wrath.